Chelsea and Leicester have reached an agreement for Wesley Fofana. Verbal agreements between the two clubs stand in position, with both clubs close to completing the transfer for a record sum for the 21-year-old defender. This has been confirmed by Fabrizio Romano, who states Chelsea and Leicester are now on the verge of reaching a full agreement for Wesley Fofana, confirmed by Fabrice Hawkins. Final details, here we go. New bid submitted today following Chelsea's plan call on Thursday. Personal terms agreed weeks ago. This deal is going to happen. This deal is going to get over the line. Chelsea, a world record breaking fee for Wesley Fofana. Leave your comments below. Subscribe to the Football Terrace. Let's go! One of the leading sports journalists in the world here, Fabrice Hawkins, stated that a verbal agreement between Chelsea and Leicester for the transfer of Fofana has been reached, with the clubs close to agreeing a world record fee. This is the same journalist, by the way, who broke to the world that Chelsea and Napoli had come to an agreement over the signing of Koulibaly. Nosy stuff, isn't hyperbolic, doesn't tweet too often. There has to be a genuine connection to a player, but he has a very, very good succession rate. He has now been picked up by multiple journalists, including, of course, the brilliant Fabrizio Romano, that confirms that personal terms were agreed weeks ago and that a total agreement, and here we go, a very, very close indeed. Now, Chelsea fans, how are you feeling about this news? A world record bid, a world record fee for the 21-year-old. Chelsea have already spent, and I want to make sure I get this figure right, so I'm going to go back now and have a look, but Chelsea have already spent 181 million so far this summer on players. This is going to skyrocket the spending to levels that we may not have seen before from Chelsea Football Club. You know, you go through this news and you think to yourself, well, you know, Chelsea have always spent money in the past. What's so different now? Is it really that big a deal? And I don't think it's a big deal per se, but it's a huge amount of money that's been spent by Chelsea Football Club. It's going to be a record fee. It's going to be something new. It's going to be something big. But how do Chelsea fans and those of you tuning in, how do you feel about this? Are you someone that doesn't care about how much money is being spent? Are you someone that doesn't care about the volume of the fee in terms of its volume, and you just want to see the right players come into Chelsea to improve your first team? Like, where do you sit on this conversation? Because some people seemingly really care about how much money their club spends, and then a lot of others seemingly don't. But I want to know where you sit in relation to this, how you think and feel about it, the total spend from your football club, how good Fofana is going to be, and the expectations you have surrounding your team off the back of it. As stated already, 181 million pound has been spent so far, as you can see here, via transfermarket.co.uk. This fee is said to be around the 80 plus million mark. So let's just put it around. In fact, what is the world record defender transfer? I just want to make sure we've got this right. I believe it's 80 million, isn't it? No, it's actually Harry Maguire at 80. What are we looking at here? I want to make sure we get this right. Most expensive defenders in history. Yes, Harry Maguire currently leads the way on that, on 78 million pounds. So it's going to be above 78 million pounds. But that puts that total spend, as you can see, to practically 260 million, with Anthony Gordon still up in the conversation at around 60 million and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang at around 20. So Chelsea are on course to smash the 300 million pound mark for players this summer. There has to be a high expectations for a delivery against the back of this. Yes, some of those signings are young. Yes, some of those signings are for the future. But it's a huge amount of investment. And I think for a lot of people that felt that Roman was going to leave and that was it. Roman was going to go and the world for Chelsea was going to change. We're no longer going to sign top quality players. That for me has and always will be an absolute nonsense. In terms of Wesley Fofana, listen, this is a player that at the 19 years of age came to the Premier League and hit the ground running. This is the defender that in nearly every game I've watched him play for Leicester, probably barring the match against Arsenal a few short weeks ago, where his head clearly wasn't in it, has always looked good, has always looked on point, has always been exactly what you want him to be. Been one of the very best defenders on the football pitch and looks a Premier League player. Is he better than the likes of Tchouaméni, the likes of Sarr? Sorry, the likes of Chalobah and Sarr at Chelsea? Absolutely. Absolutely. For me, he is head and shoulders above them. I think that he is better than Jules Koundé, and he comes with that Premier League proven tag, which for me goes a long, long, long way. I think this is a fantastic piece of business from Chelsea Football Club. No doubt about it in my mind. I think this is going to yield them brilliant results. They're going to get an excellent return of their investment on this deal. And one of the biggest reasons for that is Thomas Tuchel. His ability to enhance defenders, to make them look maybe a little bit better than they truly are. He has an absolute knack for doing this, always has and probably always will. It's a huge investment. It's massive, massive backing. And I know some Chelsea fans are screaming out, we need more midfield, we need midfield, we need midfield. But Tuchel believed that fixing the back line first was key. The reports are that next summer, Chelsea will go all out to improve this midfield. And maybe in the short term, it means Chelsea can't win the Premier League. And I would kind of implore Chelsea fans to think about this from one angle. Yes, you had a team that won the Champions League. And yes, you had a team that a year ago people were predicting to win the Premier League. You are rebuilding. You're going in a new direction in terms of how the club is run. You're buying players for the here and now, some experience, some young. You're buying a lot of players for the future as well. Chelsea are building something for Thomas Tuchel. And that is why I don't think you necessarily need to worry or panic at this moment in time. Will you have all the pieces that Thomas Tuchel wants now in year one? Absolutely not. Pep Guardiola didn't have his team straight away. Jurgen Klopp certainly didn't. Sir Alex Ferguson didn't. Very few managers get the team they want and walk into a team that's ready. And some will argue that the manager's been here 18 months. He should have already built his team. They bought him Lukaku and Sal Niguez. That's it. That's all he's had. You've had 3 or 4 players leave. You had the sanctions, which slowed things down, a change of ownership. This is a new world for Chelsea. This is almost day one, step one, ground zero, as it were. And as I've already mentioned, I think this is a phenomenal piece of business by Chelsea. I think the majority of their transfers, Cucurella, Fofana, Sterling, Koulibaly, Aubameyang when he comes in, I think they're excellent. They're mixtures, some for the future, some all for the here and now, but some that have got a big future, some that's slightly smaller. As already mentioned, there is going to be a record deal for this player, a world record fee for a defender. Will that phase the player? We will see. But certainly we know by looking at this that Chelsea have bought themselves an absolute star in the making. Maybe you're already a star, but I want your thoughts and I want your feelings below. Wesley Fofana to Chelsea is going to happen. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. See you soon.